And welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. Today is I guess we'll call it the special, hopefully limited edition COVID-19 special. I say that because unfortunately I've came down with the coof, which is why Eben is not here. In an abundance of caution, we decided not to infect him with that, so it's pretty much just me going to be solo today. Also, because I'm not feeling the best, this is going to be a short episode, so my apologies for that. However, hopefully you'll still find some information that you find useful and interesting. Like always, this is Random Shots, where we discuss pretty much anything and everything related to Second Amendment, political news, current events, conspiracy theories, basically anything that we want to talk about. Let me pull up some stuff here so I can try to see comments if any come through. As always, we appreciate your comments, and if you like the content, we'd ask you to please subscribe and hit the like button and share the content as well. We appreciate that. It helps us to try to beat the algorithm. YouTube really doesn't like content like this, so we do what we can to try to get the message out. So I guess with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So I guess first of all, we'll start with Sturm Ruger and Company. Has announced the new Super Wrangler family of single-action revolvers, building on the success of the affordably priced Wrangler line introduced in 2019. The Super Wrangler features a robust steel cylinder frame and ships with 2 cylinders, allowing you to convert between .22 long rifle and move up to .22 WMR or .22 Magnum. So this is a nice change. The original Wrangler line had aluminum frames and really just couldn't take the punishment and abuse of the more powerful round. So this, allows you to have a little bit more versatility, have the .22 long rifle for just cheap, inexpensive plinking, and be able to move up to .22 Magnum if you want something a little bit more serious. So it comes in 3 Cerakote colors. There's black, silver, and bronze. The Super Wrangler features an adjustable target sight and a 5.5-inch barrel with a 1 in 14 right-hand twist. It's 11 inches overall length and weighs 37.7 ounces. The standard checkered black grip panels can be swapped by single 6 panels, allowing for a variety of customized options, and it will fit in any single 6 holsters that accommodate the 5.5-inch barrels. The cylinders are unique to the Super Wrangler, and they're not interchangeable with the standard aluminum frame Wrangler or the single 6 convertible cylinders. Let's see, windage and elevation adjustable rear sights, transfer bar mechanism and loading gate interlock for help prevent security against unintentional discharges. Cold hammer forged barrel, Cerakote finish provides rugged reliability. And there again, the Super Wrangler cylinders are not interchangeable. So don't think you can maybe, get one of the, Magnum cylinders and put it in your regular Wrangler. It's just not going to work. MSRP is $329, so street price is probably going to come in, a little under $300 on that. So another option for, some budget, shooting. And so it's always good to see a new entry in the marketplace for that. Moving on. Springfield Armory announces the release of a 10-round Hellcat Pro 9mm low capacity. So just bear with me on this one. So Springfield Armory announces the new 10-round Hellcat Pro 9mm pistol. This new offering provides those in locales requiring restricted capacities an opportunity to own the popular EDC pistol. And let's see, the 10-round Hellcat Pro is a compact pistol chambered in 9mm. 3.7-inch hammer-forged steel barrel with a 1 in 10-inch twist, 1 inch wide, 6.6 inches long, 4.8 inches high, comes in at 21 ounces. Polymer frame of the pistol features their adaptive grip texture, which they describe it as a seamless, pressure-activated texture featuring a pattern of staggered pyramid shapes. The taller pyramids have a flattened top to ensure comfort in the waistband, while the shorter pyramids come in to a point and are engaged when the pistol is firmly gripped. It comes with their OSP, or optical sight pistol configuration, which has a slide milled with the Springfield micro footprint that will accept Shield RMSC and SMSC pattern optics, and they're designed to mount direct mount, so there's no adapter plate, so it allows for the lowest mount possible. And let's see, backing up your choice of an optic would be a set of co-witnessing U-dot sights, high visibility tritium and luminescent front sight paired with a tactical rack rear sight. Has a Picatinny rail in the dust cover for mounting lights or lasers. MSRP of $649, and it comes with 2 magazines. So basically, yeah, it's a Hellcat Pro with 2 low-capacity magazines. So I appreciate what they're trying to do to be able to allow people that live in the restrictive states, we'll say, opportunity to access one of these firearms, but really it's the same gun with just 10-round magazines. So it is what it is. Also, from Springfield Armory, they're announcing the release of their XDM Elite 4.5-inch OSP 10mm in Desert FDE. It's 10mm. It's now available in the popular Desert FDE color. It's striker fired, 4.5-inch match grade melanite finish barrel, 1.2-inch grip width, 31-ounce weight, 7.6 inches long, 5.75 inches high. Has a captive recoil spring, 16-round double-column stainless steel magazine. 2 magazines are included, so you got 16 rounds of 10mm. That's pretty stout. Featuring their optical sight pistol system, again, which allows removal of a seamless cover plate to allow for mounting of optics. Topping off its forged steel slide is Springfield Armory's tactical rack U-dot rear sight. It has a U-shaped white outline that works with high visibility fiber optic front sight. Features a removable, extended, and flared magwell. Match-enhanced trigger assembly for a refined trigger. It's got a flat trigger face and integrated over-travel stop. Ambidextrous slide stop, ambi-mag release. And it's the newest variant, so hopefully appeals to those people that like the 10mm cartridge. So MSRP is $695. And moving on to Glock, and this isn't new. This is the Talo introduces the Glock 28. So Talo Industries is like a buying consortium group, and they've worked with Glock to basically bring some U.S. based production of the Glock 28. The Glock 28's been available overseas in Europe for several years now, and basically it's a similar in size to the G26 and G27. It's just in .380. Not a huge reason for this really. It's just some people just wanted one. Due to import laws to the 1968 Gun Control Act, it did not fit the criteria in the point scale system to allow it to be imported because it was just a little bit too small. So there was no sporting purpose for it to be able to be imported. So they went ahead and were producing a limited run in the United States. And Talo Industries, they set this up, and it's going to be running through their distributors. It is going to be a limited production run. I think I've heard numbers around 5,000 or something like that are going to be produced. It has a 3.3-inch barrel, standard 10+1 capacity, and weighs 20.64 ounces with an unloaded magazine. It's now available in the market and ready to order from a Talo member distributor. Production availability is limited. Let's see. Weight. It's interesting. The press release and the specs are a little bit different. It says the weight without a magazine. Oh, okay. The other was weight with an empty magazine. So without a magazine at all, it's 18.7 ounces. Weight with the empty magazine is 20.64 ounces. Weight with a loaded magazine is 24.16 ounces. Trigger pull is 5.5 pounds. Overall length is 6.5 inches. Slide length is 6.26 inches. 1.26 inches wide. Height including the magazine is 4.17 inches, and the sight radius is 5.39 inches. So if you're really geeking out, want to have a .380 Glock, there you go. You have an option now that maybe you'll be able to get that. MSRP is $599. So I would expect, because of its limited production run, you're probably not going to get one a whole lot cheaper than that. Got some comments here. Go ahead and read real quick. Looks like Liberty Plank doing great with Mr. Wuhan flu. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. He wants the Hellcat, and sporting use or not, it's none of their business. Totally agree. And of course, Uncle Mike says howdy. Howdy, Uncle Mike. So moving on, the Gersan MC14T. Now I think this is an interesting one. Basically, it's got a tip-up design. so there's no racking of the slide required. A lot of people really have a lot of trouble with a semi-automatic pistol, being able to rack that slide. Primarily elderly people, a lot of women have difficulty. You know, it requires a combination of hand strength and, you know, arm strength to be able to manipulate a slide, and some people just don't have that. And there's, you know, tricks, of course, everything, you know, you can, you know, work around it. But this is an option for people that allows them to be able to more comfortably be able to load and operate the firearm. So basically loading, it's very simple and quick. You just go ahead and tip the barrel up, put your cartridge in, pop the barrel down, and you're fully loaded, ready to go. You know, with the magazine in there, it's just basically point and shoot at that point. So it's a Florida-based European American Armory has just debuted what they bill as the easiest loading 380 ACP handgun on the market, the MC14T. It's produced by Gersound, the same company that's been making a popular series of Beretta 92 clones and Browning high-power clones for EAA. The new pistol uses a tip-up barrel design so that the slide doesn't have to be racked to chamber around. Now, we just mentioned that they make a lot of clones of Berettas. Well, Beretta introduced the concept in modern pistols back in the 1950s with the Jetfire and still use it for the Model 21 Bobcat and the 32 Tomcat. Now, of course, those are much smaller cartridges guns, and they're, you know, they haven't been chambered in 380 ACP. And also, while the Beretta, they call them mouse guns, are single stacks with 7+1 round capacity, this EAA variant is 14+1 rounds, so it's a full-size firearm with its standard flush-fit capacity magazine. So it's 380 ACP, tip-up barrel design, all-steel barrel and slide, ambidextrous safety, 4.5-inch barrel. It's finished in regular standard black, you know, blued black finish. 13+1 capacity, 4.5-inch barrel, 6.8 inches overall length. Comes in at 1.4 pounds. MSRP is $498, so street price is going to be a little bit under that. So overall, I kind of like it. I think it's neat. I had a Beretta Tomcat for a while with 32, and it is interesting, the concept. Obviously, I don't, you know, have any problem racking a slide on a firearm, but I can definitely appreciate the people that do have an issue with that. This just provides another option for them to have something a little bit more powerful and be able to still provide for their self-protection or just, you know, recreational shooting. So moving on, Sturm Ruger and Company, or as we now also know them as Marlin, has released the Marlin Model 336 Classic. It's now shipping with limited availability, and they note on here to please contact your local retailer for more information. Ruger encourages retailers to contact their distributors for availability and advises consumers not to leave deposits with retailers that do not have confirmed shipments. These are limited in production at this current time. They're not cheap. We'll get to that in a second. So they just want to make sure people aren't leaving deposits everywhere. If you go online right now, you find these things for sale everywhere, and they all say back order, you know, upfront initial order, things like that. Most places don't have one, so, you know, just know what you're getting into. So it's 30-30 Winchester, 6+1 capacity, American black walnut stock, alloy steel, it's in satin blue, brass bead front sight with a hood, semi-buckhorn rear sight, 7.5 pounds, 38.6 inches long, 13.38 inch length of pull. Barrel length is 20.25 inches. Cold hammer forged alloy steel barrel with a 1 in 12 right hand twist with 6 grooves. Suggested retail price, okay, here's that sticker shock, $1,239. Now I suspect street price will be less than that, but I also suspect that these are going to be hard to get for a while, so expect to pay $1,239. There again, I've seen some advertised prices with it much lower than that. They don't have them. So just, you know, be aware, if you get a good deal on one that's for real, I would jump on it if you want one of these things. They haven't been available for a while now, so they're back, and I, for one, I'm very happy about that. And as much as I'm happy about that, we're going to move on to standard manufacturing, the S333 Thunderstruck Revolver Generation 3. Okay, I debated whether or not to even present this one. I'm just going to come out and say it. This gun is stupid. But it has a 2-piece aluminum frame with integrated iron sights. It has a polymer lower frame with an aluminum upper frame. It's with dovetailed sights, 2 1/4 inch barrel for that, that awesome power of the 22, capacity that's in there. It fires 2 of them at once, though. That's the big claim to fame. Holds 8 rounds total, so firing 2 at once, you get 4 shots. Anyway, the 3rd generation has a set trigger that lets the shooter pull the trigger to a stop, which presumably rotates the cylinder and cocks the hammer, and then you have a second stage of a lighter trigger pull to fire the gun. The set trigger can be safely released and decocked from its first stage stop should you decide not to fire the gun. It's 22 Winchester Magnum, so you got that awesome power of 22 Magnum, but it is coming out of a 2 1/4 inch barrel, so I don't. It is what it is. 8 rounds, high strength steel cylinder, double barrel, double action revolver, 2 rounds fired with each pull of the trigger. 70-75 aircraft grade aluminum with anodized finished frame. Integral articulated trigger safety. Transfer bar blocks firing pin from the hammers. Barrel material steel, the grip's polymer. It comes in 18 ounces. MSRP is $429. I just looking at this thing. Let me pull up, make it full size here, just so you can, really get a good look at it. It's interesting. I'll be honest. I like all firearms. I think they're interesting and everything. I just don't really quite get this one. I've never fired one, so in full transparency, however, I've not heard good things about them. Basically, I've heard the trigger pulls are not great. It sounds like on the Generation 3, they have done some work on that to lighten the trigger pull. Remember, you're cocking, 2 striker assemblies on there and all that kind of stuff. 22 caliber rimfire ammo has a lot of things of concern for self-defense cartridge. It's that rimfire being one of them. Now, firing 2 at once helps to alleviate some of that. I mean, so if one of them does fail, you still have one that's going down, going down the chute. With that being said, it's still, 2 1/4 inch barrel. It's not a small gun by any means still. I just, personally, I think there's better options out there. But if you like the weird and interesting, this is another one that's out there. Another thing with this barrel is a longer barrel than their prior versions. So they did recognize the need to maybe, up the velocity a little bit on there. So it is a little bit better than the prior versions. And then again, some of the reports I've seen on the earlier versions as far as accuracy leave a lot to be desired. But there again, I haven't, in full disclosure, haven't tried one myself. This might be one actually we might need to actually try to get one just to put it through the ringer and see what it's done. Maybe I'll change my tune. So anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments. So I'm sure someone's going to say that they've got one, it's the best gun ever. And if that's the case and you like it, then more power to you. I think it's great. There's a seat for every butt, so to speak. So, whatever floats people's boat. So the next segment I want to cover briefly is basically we're kind of still in an ammo shortage. I know it doesn't seem like it as much now. You go into stores, it looks like there's a lot of ammo on the shelves now. It's starting to come back. I know there's a lot of people that are waiting, thinking the prices are going to keep coming down. But I've got a report here that basically, I just wanted to kind of discuss some things, make sure that your people are aware of really kind of what's going on. So, this particular article, there was an article that was written in the New York Times. It's going to war, good news. The United States is 13 years behind in ammunition production. So the summary of this, the Biden administration this month proposed a record-breaking $842 billion budget for the Department of Defense. Missile and munition stockpiles are dwindling as the U.S. continues to send aid packages to Ukraine. Since production capacity changed after the Cold War, the U.S. can no longer keep up with wartime demands. We haven't actually, since the Cold War kind of, petered out and dwindled down in the 80s, production of most things has slowed. Now, development's continued, and production has continued to keep up with what I would call peacetime demands, or the low simmering level of conflict that we've had in the Middle East. But even with that, it was kind of a break-even scenario. We'd use some, we'd produce it, and we'd kind of break even. The Middle East was not a full-blown heavy conflict, with battle lines, things like that. Not like the Ukraine is. The United States' commitment to support the Ukraine against the Russian invasion appears to have rattled the stability of the domestic stockpile of missiles and munitions. Just some things in here. It looks like we're going to be sending U.S. Patriot air defense systems to the Ukraine, along with 200,000 rounds of artillery, rockets, and tank rounds. And let's see, the U.S. has sent Ukraine so many stockpiled Stinger missiles that it will take 13 years of production at current capacity levels to replace them. The Javelin missile systems will take 5 years at last year's production rates to replace the number of missiles that we've sent to Ukraine in the last 10 months. Currently, the U.S. produces just over 14,000 rounds of 155 millimeter ammunition, so artillery shells. Now, 14,000 rounds sounds like a lot, and that's how much we produce, every month. The Ukrainian forces have been firing that many rounds in the span of 48 hours. So, true battle zone conflict demands on munitions are huge, and our current production levels cannot keep up. So basically, our current stockpiles for our own self-defense are being dwindled down to very unsafe levels, and we just don't have the production capacity for it. Ammunition availability might be the single most important factor that determines the course of the war in 2023. The United States has rarely seen production shortages in ammunition and missiles to the degree that we currently face. While there was a brief precision missile shortage in 2016 following the skirmishes in Libya and Iraq, the U.S. has largely been engaged in short-term, high-intensity fights, such as the Persian Gulf War, or prolonged lower-intensity missions like in Afghanistan, which allowed the stockpiles to be rebuilt back up because they weren't getting these huge demands. But now, as full-blown conflict is going on, and we're now supporting that, the ability to keep up production, it's just not there. It's listed that this could become a crisis, with the front line now mostly stationary. Artillery has become the most important combat arm. Basically, they're proposing huge amounts in spending, and this is for the heavy weapon systems. We're also supporting small arms ammunition, so the production capacity for that is going to be pretty much completely geared toward wartime production. I just read a report recently in Europe, the Europe ammunition market. If hostilities would cease right now, it will take the European ammunition supply about 15 years to equalize to normal supply and demand. So that's in Europe. In the USA, we've had ammunition shortages for several years. So let's keep in mind several things here. We have a global pandemic that caused production shutdowns and stoppages. There's been supply chain impacts, not all of which have been completely alleviated yet. Civil unrest, remember back 2020, late 2020, caused panic buying. Lots of new shooters because of the civil unrest means that there's a lot more new demand out there. Government threats of gun control has resulted in a lot of panic buying. And there's a war going on, so all the primary ammo producers are working to fulfill wartime needs. So currently, you may find ammunition on the shelves, but that's because there's been a short-term, what I would call, drop in civilian demand. So the limited production that makes it into the civilian market has been allowed to kind of build back up, and it appears that there's a lot of ammunition available. If buying starts to pick up again like it did just a year or two ago, you're going to find empty shelves again. So I'm not saying go out there and just start buying everything up, because I don't want to trigger, that scenario. But if you're waiting for the prices to really drop to, those good old days of 2018, 2017, it's not going to happen. So if you have ammunition needs, I would work on trying to fill those needs now. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, we're keeping this one short. Honestly, I'm already starting to sundown quite a bit. So I'm going to be wrapping up here. Hopefully everything will be back to normal next week, and Eben will be able to come back in. We'll have a full show with a lot more topics. We have a lot planned coming up. Actually, as soon as the weather, there again, it's been raining like crazy. The the range is still pretty much, if it's not underwater, it's a soppy sponge. So we're still waiting for stuff to dry out so we can, get out there and do some shooting. We've got a lot of firearms backed up in the pipeline to get out there to review. That's one of the newest acquisitions right there, the Smith & Wesson 5.7. We've got the Rock from Palmetto State Armory in 5.7. So we'll be, doing some shooting comparing with that. We've got the Henry rifle to get out there. That we've got a bunch of things to get out there and get some reviews on. So we have all that coming. As always, we're going to have all the normal stuff that we have as far as just talking about politics and commentary. If there's anything that you would like to see us do, put in the comments. Let us know what you think. As always, we appreciate your comments and feedback. So make sure you let us know. Again, share with your friends. We're on lots of other platforms as well. Rumble, Odyssey, Minds, Utreon, Patreon. We're pretty much everywhere. Just go out there and you can just Google Craig's Gun Channel and it pops up everywhere. So appreciate your support on all the different platforms. Of course, we appreciate your support here on YouTube as well. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up there. As always, until next time, stay safe.